Okay, well, yesterday the kiln did not fire. Oh, I better turn on some light out here, huh? And so it's time to go face the music, see what we got.
You and me, babe. You and me, babe. It's just nothing else like you.
We ready to go? Still a little warm in there. Check the temperature. I have one of these little things. I don't know how much they actually do, but it says 115, so good to go, especially since I don't have to worry about crazing, seeing as how it didn't get all the way fired. See if I can't figure out if the issue is that I've lost an element. If I've lost an element, I need to change an element. So I'm looking for red. They should turn red pretty quickly on high power, and it's on high power. So looking for red in all three elements. I know we had red on the bottom because I could see that through the peephole, but I couldn't see the middle and the top. So yeah. We've also got a closed circuit. And that's kind of interesting to me because I would think that if one of the elements is not firing, then we wouldn't have a closed circuit. If we didn't have a closed circuit, then it wouldn't come on at all. And we wouldn't have any heat anywhere. And then if I have lost an element, then I gotta figure out if that's because I didn't get it fixed, or if that is because I broke an element while I was fixing it. It really shouldn't take this long for them to get rid. This is me being impatient. Okay. It's definitely not arcing. So I think that's a major issue. It should have a little blue spark before each time that it clicks on. So it's clicking on, and it's obviously sending power into something in here, but not enough power, maybe. Will give me a chance to get these fired, however, this week rather than next week, pending that I am smart enough to fix this, which we're gonna say I am. We're gonna say Herbert is smart enough to fix this. Okay, so Herbert and I did some research and could not find anything at all. So, but there is a little wire over here. This little tiny wire, he is very, very short. And he popped off of his connector as we were pulling it out. Neither one of us were able to see. We just had to guess where it went. So that is my only, that's my only course of action at this point. That's the most logical course of action at this point. So it should be off. Let's see if it's off now. And it is off. So that means that little wire is in the right place. Because I can turn this. And now it should come on. It's not coming on. That doesn't seem to have changed anything. So gotta call the people. Maybe they'll be able to tell me something. I don't already know. Okay, so remember I told you this little guy right here was probably in the wrong place? I was right. I was right. He goes way down there at the bottom and I had him up here. So, I called the kiln manufacturer. I told them basically, I don't know what's wrong. I sent them a couple of pictures. I told them what I've been trying. I told them all the things, and with the pictures that I sent, dude was able to tell me just exactly what was going on, and that there's nothing plugged in there, and there's a wire that needs to be plugged in there. So we got that taken care of. Unfortunately, this little wire, I mean, he popped off without us knowing that he had popped off because he's so short. I can't reach the connector that he's supposed to be connected to while it's sitting right here, and obviously I can't get the assembly any closer to the kiln unless I have Tim here to help me. So Tim is on a walk right now. He will be so elated when I tell him that it's not an issue. Hopefully we can verify that the elements are getting orange, and if the elements are getting orange, then we may or may not fire again today. We may wait until tomorrow to fire again, because I don't know how long I can take the stress. But that's what's going on. I'm gonna take some serious pictures of the back of this thing so that I don't have to wonder anymore if something pops off of its connection. But yeah, I knew it was a plug and play issue. I just didn't know where that plug was supposed to go. So wish us luck, and hopefully we'll have a kiln unloading soon. And, you know, like I said earlier, those ones that were really actually a priority for this kiln load can actually get into that kiln load now. So it's a blessing. It's a blessing. It's a frustrating blessing, dang it! Tim got here at the perfect time, and we have a spark going now, and there's another Superman out there that works the kiln place that told us how to do it. I'm checking for red now or orange wires to make sure that all of our elements are doing what they need to do. But short of a few screws in the side panel. I think we got it fixed. Okay. Got the kiln unloaded. I've got to vacuum it out. I have to reload it. I found some things that, you know, again, very frustrating, very much something that you do not want to have to learn, but that would have been some serious crawling on that piece, and there's several pieces like that that in the overlap of the double dips they just completely crawled. So at this point I have an option. I can paint over that and refire it. Oh, that's not a trash can, Emily. Not a trash can. At this point, I can paint over that and refire it, and hopefully I won't have that crawling issue, but it pulled away from the... So I watched a video just the other day about crawling, and they said that if you paint the top glaze over the bottom glaze, and the bottom has already dried, then it will pull, then it will separate the bottom glaze from the bisque wear as the top glaze dries. So yeah, I can verify very definitely that that is exactly what it will do. And I have several pots like that. But this particular and this particular one had chipped off in a sheet and was laying on my kiln shelf. So all told, this little kiln snafu saved me a kiln shelf. So I really have nothing to complain about now. As I said yesterday, it's a blessing. It's a frustrating blessing. But these pieces are saved. I've got a couple of saved pieces because of that. And I've got a kiln shelf that was saved. And since I only have 3 kiln shelves that are in good shape, and I can't get one. I can't get another one until after we go to Austin again. So this is crawling. This is what happens when your stuff crawls. So this would eventually shrink back up onto the clay body. And this probably may not ever show. And this may not ever show, but there will be a triangular shape right there for sure. That is crawled on this pot. Crawling, yeah, here we go. So this is the same, this is what crawling looks like when it's done. You see how this had several problems with it, but you see right there where that's, and up here on the darker, up there, that where it's not, where the clay body is showing through, that's crawling. And this is what it looks like when it's halfway fired. This is how it happens. So this was probably facing the kiln element. That's the only place it's doing it on this particular piece. So this got hotter faster than the rest of the piece. Okay. Got the kiln all loaded. I am concerned about some things crawling. This is our biggest, so crawled. These things behind me here all crawled. These two didn't go in the firing because it was evident before they ever got in there that they were crawling. I don't know what else is in there that might crawl. There's not that many double dips in there. And it's all the double dips. And it seems to be, so like we were out here dipping one day. We lined things up so that we're doing all the clear at one time. Anything that has clear on it, whether it has 50% clear on it, or whether it has painted clear on it, or has it, everything that has white. If it's 100% white, if it's 75% white, if it's only white on the inside. And we get out one bucket at a time. We dip everything. Well, we had finished everything but a few colors that were just going to get one or two dips. But some of those colors had been dipped in white. So they were going to be, the bottom half was going to be white, and then the top half was going to be color just like this. And all of the ones that sat overnight before we painted or dipped over that area crawled. If it hadn't set up overnight, like if we dipped it in the white and let it dry out for 15 minutes or so, and then got out the next bucket and then dipped it in the next bucket, they were fine. No problems. And then Tim had one that was done, it was painted with a commercial glaze and then dipped in one of our homemade glazes, and it was crawling. We went ahead and put it in the kiln because it had pulled away from the pot, but it hadn't. There's a possibility that it will, very small possibility that it will have enough structure as it shrinks to come back onto the pot, as long as it doesn't pop. So it's in the kiln on a cookie. So so if it didn't dry overnight, it didn't do that. If it did dry overnight, or at least that's our theory. The only other theory that we have is that the specific gravity of the white is off. And that just means it's laying on too thick. That's all it means. So I do think that it is a little coincidental that I watched a video like this week or last week that said if you let a glaze completely dry out and then you dip it in another glaze, that glaze will, the new wet glaze will pull the dry old glaze away from the clay body. Whereas if you don't let the first glaze dry out before you dip the second glaze, you won't have that problem. Your brain says, oh, well, let it dry out, and then it'll absorb some more water, and then I can get more glaze on it. But then It's a balance. And we're learning. We're learning. Herbert's learning. Herbert's doing a great job. Herbert is kicking it. Herbert has got it down. Me, Emily, on here? I'm not so sure. The washer that I found in the reclaim clay the other day, it goes to the extruder. Filing that note away. This extruder plate bit Herbert's friend. And now he's bleeding. He's muddy and he's bleeding. This bites. Really bad. Surprisingly bad. Ow! Oh my goodness, that was a marathon. I have 5 fairy houses, and I have a place where the extruder bit me, and these will have to be printed tomorrow. And Superman just went and got Chipotle. I really don't deserve it. I really don't deserve it. But I have a total of 16 fairy houses this time. So I don't know how many of these will actually get reclaimed. It's okay, I told him Superman went and got Chipotle. But I'm hoping that I can get them all done before the dry. So these get plastic, and then Emily goes in to binge watch Star Wars or whatever, and each Chipotle has Superman. So good day. Good day.